Hello, folks. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. So we're in 2021, and we begin the new year with the very first chapter of One Piece being chapter 1000. Chapter 1K is in the books. It's set in stone, and it'll probably go down as probably one of the most important chapters of One Piece in the last 5 years, just because of what it sets up, what it does. We knew it was going to be big. We knew it was going to be special. Have to be honest. There's a lot of predictions that came through. Like we kind of knew certain things were going to happen, but it didn't make it any less epic. This was a really big deal. However, I will say there's certain things in this chapter that kind of surprised me a little bit. We'll get into that. Get right into it with the color spread. Obviously, chapter 1K completes the two-part color spread with the last chapter we got Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, Frankie, Usopp, and Robin. In this color spread, in chapter 1K, we got obviously Nami with the crown, Brook, Jinbei, and Luffy. So it's an upgrade for the color spread we got in chapter 100. This looks a hell of a lot better. Obviously, you're adding more crew members like Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, and obviously Jinbei. So, but there are certain things that are similar. Obviously, Nami with the crown, Luffy with the meat. But I do find it interesting, despite the color spread, Zoro and Luffy were the only members highlighted from the Straw Hats in this chapter. Probably going to go back to them in chapter 1001, possibly, because it is setting the stage for some Straw Hats going up against the Tubby Robo. So I think Oda's going to cut away from what's happening with the Yonko. The beginning of this chapter was a very important indicator as to what we'll get towards the end of this chapter, with Luffy making his way up. He's on the fifth floor. He bumps into the Musketeer Sicilian. It's kind of funny because Luffy forgets his name at first, but he doesn't forget what they did at Zoe, which is cool. We get literally willing to risk their lives to protect the whereabouts of Rizo, and Luffy remembers that. And like I said, it ties into the ending of this chapter because it was when Luffy was having when we got the flashbacks of Luffy and his interactions with the Scabbards, within Zoe, with what happened since they've arrived at Wano, learning about Odin, all that stuff leading up to Luffy striking Kaido the way he did. Yeah, this scene in the beginning of the chapter set the stage for what was about to go down. More or less, actually, if you look at the beginning of this chapter where he's like smiling to where the chapter ends with Luffy dead serious, but he's not pissed off like he would usually get. He got angry, but he controlled that anger and actually got the best of Kaido. So the beginning of this chapter and the ending of this chapter kind of symbolizes the growth that the maturity that Luffy's been on ever since the story's begun. So I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but that's just something that stuck into my mind. Marco in between King and Queen, and I guess they're trying to attack Marco and Zoro. Zoro, this is hilarious, but also great at the same time. So they come charging at Marco. Marco says, "Don't interfere." Marco just throws Zoro up above on a lumbus type of deal, like he was in Dressrosa. And I guess if he threw him right to the top, so that's insane. Number one, so that's cool. I guess that's a convenient way to get Zoro up there. Then it cuts to, this is one of the few surprising parts of the chapter. So we go back to where the shrine, where we see this dragon statue of Kaido, the former entrance, where we go to Yamato, Shinobu, and Momonosuke. And I guess it's the part where Yamato gives Momonosuke the Odin's journal, which I knew was going to happen, and I also knew it was going to cut away when Momonosuke opened it up. We get some dialogue as to what the prophecy that Odin said will go down. But obviously, learning about other secrets, we're not going to get to learn about, like the Will of D, the meaning of the Will of D, obviously the Void Century, all that stuff, which, according to Yamato, like when she found this, it was at the bottom of the palace, where it's possible that Toki could have done it, given the fact we know she left, but that's never really stated. But we do find out, obviously, it's in Yamato's hands and now it's in Momonosuke's hands. The surprising part is it actually transitions back after what's going on with Ace in the past with Wano. So I didn't expect Oda to do that in this chapter at least. So this is the part where Ace is either drunk or just casually talks about what Luffy stated to him and Sabo back when they were kids. So Ace is thinking about when Luffy said to him and Sabo that he was going to become king of the pirates. He's relaying this on to Yamato. Ace obviously didn't mean to say that, but he obviously it turns out pretty serious when he says, I believe he can do it. He can make it happen. Yamato tears up and says, I'm not going to laugh at that because that's words spoken of a king of the pirates. So, and I mentioned this in my live reaction too, like the fact that she believes in Luffy without even meeting him just through listening to Ace just goes to show you the level of faith that people have in Luffy. And it builds up Luffy in this chapter. That's what it all builds up to, and the payoff was pretty phenomenal, I thought. Thing two is like we actually get to find out that the Vivre card given to Ace was through Yamato, which I thought was very interesting. Like the huge Vivre card that was given to Ace. Like Ace didn't know what that was. It's just a piece of paper, and I think Luffy said the same thing, which is interesting because back in Alabasta, because there's so many parallels here. So he's like, here's your Vivre card, and very similar to how Ace said it'll reunite us someday. Yamato says, yes, but that piece of paper will bring us back together again. Obviously, that didn't happen because of what happened in Marineford, but I do find the parallels are very interesting. And if you notice, Yamato keeps a piece of that Vivre card, which I'm going to point out in a minute. And that's when it transitions back into the present with Luffy running up. And she also mentions that I learned that Ace was Roger's son. Now, she also mentioned like Journal of Kazuki Oden. There was a great man who said the same thing. Of course, I wouldn't laugh at him, but your brother is incredible. So obviously, the parallels between him, Luffy, and Roger. And I do find it interesting. Like before we went into the flashback, we actually see a shot of Kid and Law as they're making their way up as well. And if I didn't notice this at first, but if you look at Law, he's about to use Broom. So one of my predictions in previous reviews, I stated that one of the ways that the Kid and Law and Luffy can get up to Kaido is if Law uses Shambles. And we know the Kid was a floor ahead of Luffy, and Luffy was on the 5th floor at the beginning of this chapter. So I don't know if that's what happened, because I didn't see Luffy around with them. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility of what happened. Would have been kind of cool to see them enter the top of the school dome. But they were already there by the time we get to that monster panel. So cool revelation that the Vivre card given to Ace was through Yamato. Now I have a question. Is the Vivre card that Ace gave to Luffy back in Alabasta the very same Vivre card that Yamato gave? Because if that's the case, and if by chance Oda had Yamato planned that early in the game, holy crap. The level of foreshadowing is insane already. So, I mean, it is possible that he could have had Yamato in mind and Marineford, considering if that's the same Vivre card that was given to Luffy, how important that was to the structure of the story. Like, I don't think you guys realized it. It didn't sink in at first, but after I stopped recording the live reaction, it really hit. Like, that Vivre card given to Ace, if it's given to Luffy, if that's the same Vivre card that's given to Luffy, that's what ignited Marineford for Luffy. Like, Luffy does not get to Marineford without that Vivre card. And what happens after that, when Ace gets executed, obviously he dies to protect Luffy. But Luffy's maturity does not happen if Luffy does not go to Marineford. The time skip does not happen if Luffy isn't a Marineford, because he needs to know what he's up against with a Yonko there. He's witnessing the power of Whitebeard, the Marines, the Admirals, the Shishibukai, all these great powers that Luffy's going to have to overcome throughout his journey in this story. And it's the Vivre card that leads Luffy to try and rescue Ace, but without that Vivre card, he never gets there. So if that's the same Vivre card, holy crap. And if Yamato was thought of back then, again, holy crap, the level of foreshadowing is nuts when it comes to Oda. the message that Odin stated in his journal. So over the 20 years in the future, powerful pirates leading the next generation will come swarming into the new world. If I'm dead by then, they will be the ones to strike down Kaido. So the words of Odin, it's interesting. Like, I'm curious, did Toki also mention this prophecy to Odin? We don't really know. But I mean, we kind of figured this would be the case anyway. But my God, that panel of the Kid, Law, Killer, Luffy, and Zoro staring down Kaido and Big Mom, maybe one of the most beastly panels we've gotten in the series. Not just because it's 1000, just because it's whatever it's been leading up to. We kind of figured this was going to happen. The build up to getting to Wano, and we got there, it was so surreal because we've been waiting so long to get to Wano, and here it is in chapter 909. Technically, chapter 910, but halfway through, we actually see Wano for the first time. We get to see Zoro and Robin after so long of waiting. And then before then, we get the hype before Luffy's about to use Gear 4 for the first time. That's what this reminded me of, because the build up, we knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know when, and we didn't know what was going to take place, but we got a pretty good idea. And the fact that Odin's words resemble what's going on right here, great. The other thing that's surprising is not the fact that Kid Law and Luffy are staring down Kaido, because I think everybody and their mothers could have predicted that was going to happen, but the fact that Zoro's also there. I'm not surprised Zoro's having some interaction with Kaido, because we knew that was going to happen. There's been way too much hype. Zoro's looking to challenge Kaido for it not to happen, but for this early, without taking on King yet, which I'll get into, because I still think there's a possibility of other people showing up. I have with Zoro's fight with King has to happen, so unless King goes to another opponent like Kaido yet, I see him doing something to help out. But yeah, that kind of threw me off. Killer being up there makes sense, because obviously he got screwed over. He got tortured by Orochi and Kaido. Cool to see him there. I think obviously more Supernova have to make their appearance. Hawkins definitely, X-Drake maybe. He's scrambling with Scratch Man at Pooh right now. So yeah, there's definitely room for other Supernova to show up. And to me, even though that panel was great, seeing the Supernova stay out in the Yonko, you have like kids saying, "Stay back, I'm going to handle this," and like you got the Kaido and Big Mom running down Luffy because he stated he's going to become king of the pirates. Just looking at tone, the difference that Luffy has, like compare this to what happened when he saw Otama and the Straw Hats get he thought he saw the Straw Hats get obliterated with Kaido's fire breath. Compare that to what we see here. It's completely night and day. Like, he sees the scabbards, but he doesn't freak out by the end of this chapter. He doesn't go throw a rage like when he knocked out Bellamy because he was following Doflamingo around like a lost puppy. This is, and again, this speaks to the maturity of Luffy. That's what this journey has brought us to. To me, it was one of the coolest things of the chapter. As Kaido and Big Mom are trying to like talk down Luffy, he's just walking by him, and he actually at one point speed blitzes past them both, and Kaido's like, huh? And goes right to Kinemon and notice the rest of the scabbards. And I said that the scabbards are probably alive. They're barely alive, so I don't know what's going to happen to them now. Kinemon's obviously tearing up because they failed to take down Kaido. It's going to motivate Luffy, obviously, even further. Zoro's seeing this as well, so it's definitely going to motivate him too. Kinemon's dialogue, it looked like he's about to die, because it's like, I can't face Odin because of my I'll bring shame. But right as Kaido's about to attack with his mace, not even acknowledging Kaido, and that's probably one of the craziest things about all this entire sequence. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge the Yonko at this point. He's just concerned about the scabbards, how they're doing, and he's like, Law, Traffy, get them down, send them down below. Law, without hesitation, uses shambles. Before Kaido can even make contact, Luffy dodges his mace. Kaido attacks, he misses. In the same move, he uses Gear Third, and he brings out a new technique. And as this is going on, as I mentioned before, the transitions over to like the different memories that Luffy has with the Scabbard back in Zou, back in Wano, with obviously Yasui, with Hyogoro, everything that the Scabbard saying, what they said about Odin. Luffy launches an attack right at Kaido, and again, it looks like he's obviously using Rio, connects Kaido right in the jaw and sends him crashing to the ground. Probably the most epic ending to a chapter you can ask for. All these elements of One Piece came together in this chapter. Why I like it so much, like foreshadowing that we've gotten, like the epic build-up of you knew something was going to happen with Luffy and Kaido. You just didn't know what. And Luffy uses Red Rock, which could be another form of Red Hawk, because that's immediately what I got. And it looks cool. It sends Kaido down, and it shocks the hell out of Big Mom because it's like, hey, Kaido, what's going on? How can you let him do this? Well, this is the time to the battle when it comes to like Luffy, because this is a completely different Luffy than Kaido fought back in chapter 922 when Kaido one-shotted Luffy. Keep in mind, Kaido Speed Blitz Gear 4 Luffy. So how much of a difference does that make? That Luffy, using Gear 3, not even Gear 4, managed to go Speed Blitz behind Big Mom and Kaido isn't slow, and just do what he did. So yeah, that was a great way to end. And obviously Luffy, classic, saying, "I'm Monkey D. Luffy. I'll become I'm the man who'll become king of the pirates." We've heard it since chapter 1 into chapter 1000, but he has the twist where he says, "Who will surpass you first?" which is one of the things he actually said to Crocodile before he took him down. This isn't Luffy being pissed off, screaming it. So I'm really curious how the anime handles that. And it looks like this chapter was tailor-made for the anime. And given they haven't done it, they haven't steered it wrong. Like, they've done a pretty decent job, I think, handling the anime. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this looks. So a couple of things to note here. Like, first off, like, the fact that Law sent the Scabbards down below probably means the case of where one of them dies, but I don't think so. I'm curious which floor they're being sent down below, because some of the strats are going up. So which floor they're going sent down to? My immediate thought is maybe they're going to get sent down to Marco, and maybe he can heal them, and maybe that's a way of getting Marco away from King and Queen, and that's how they get up. So that's one element. You do have another where Law could actually heal them, but I don't think he can do that. I think he's going to give them to Chopper or Marco. It does also make sense because if you remember, Kiku's arm fell down at the bottom a few chapters ago, and that's when Zoro got pissed off. But that's also the same. They could be sent down to that floor as well, and maybe that somebody could actually reattach Kiku's arm. Now, I'm not saying that's a good idea, because I think there should be some consequences for the Scabbards in this. I'm not saying they should die. It depends. It depends how things roll here. But yeah, the fact that you send them down below probably means they're not going to die just yet. Notice, if the Scabbards aren't dying, that means, and it's been pretty much teased, I think, look, go back to what Hawkins said, saying, I feel sorry for that man. We don't know who he was talking about. We don't know if he was talking about Law, Luffy, Zoro, Kaido. We don't know. So that raises a lot of questions, because if the Scabbards aren't dying, then who is? I at least think we have to at least somebody dying in Wano. We'll have to wait and see. Two more things I want to bring up. Number one, the Vivre card that Yamato has currently. You saw before she tore a big piece of that Vivre card, I gave it to Ace. And I'm assuming if that's the same Vivre card that's given to Luffy, that's burnt up now. But Yamato still has a piece of that Vivre card. So this could be one instance where if it's the case that Yamato doesn't go with Luffy right now, and she appears later down the road, maybe in the final battle, maybe the final arc, maybe she appears on Laftel, that Vivre card, at least piece of that Vivre card be given to Luffy. That's maybe how they reunite, because I definitely think unless Luffy comes back to Wano, either Yamato has to go with the Straw Hats now, or she gives a piece of that Vivre card to Luffy and the Straw Hats. She rejoins them during the final battle. That's what I think, but let me know what you guys think. And the final thing, obviously, to note here is the dialogue that Odin stated while we saw this Supernova, the worst generation, Zoro Killer, Luffy, Law, and Kid stare down Big Mom and Kaido. Now, keep in mind, Odin's prophecy stated that they will take Kaido's head. The pirates will show up from the next generation to show up to take Kaido's head. Now, he doesn't specify how many pirates, but he says pirates in plural. So whoever's taking down Kaido is in that group. Or, here's the thing that immediately comes to mind here. Keep in mind, number one, they're not the only supernova that could show up who's capable of damaging the Yonko. Keep in mind that it's possible that Blackbeard could show up, and he's a pirate, and he used to be a part of the Worst Generation. He could show up, and he also has ties to pretty much Kazuki Odin, because obviously his connection with being in the Whitebeard Pirates. So that's cool. So that is a possibility as well. So it doesn't just have to be the pirates that are up there. It's like pirates, like in plural. So it could be more than what we got right now. I expect to see more Supernova. It could be possible that someone shows up on Wano from other members of the Worst Generation. I've already stated that Bonnie and Aro could show up at some point, maybe even Capone. All signs are leading to maybe a full Supernova team up. So who knows if we're going to get that in this arc. We'll see. So this could set the stage for others showing up. Maybe Blackbeard shows up. We know for a fact, according to Oda's comments at Jump Festa, his message at Jump Festa, we know 2021 is going to be the year that Shanks makes his move. So what that means, I have no idea. Is he going to show up on Wano? Are we going to go to Shanks after Wano? Kind of like what happened with Whole Cake Island. After Luffy got his bounty increased, we saw Shanks, and then he went to the Gorosei. Is that what we're going to see? And we're going to get closer to that Shanks and Luffy reunion, or is something else going to happen? I don't know. But yeah, this chapter, like I said, sets up a lot. Even though this is chapter 1000, so that's insane. Who knows how many more chapters? It could be another 100 chapters, 200 chapters. Who knows? But exactly where this series is going to go, because, like Oda said, like Luffy's journey is going to be over. Like the good time for the Strass is going to be over, and it's going to be dead serious. So, what great way to start that off. With this chapter 1000, it could be this. I definitely want to see what happens next. And with Luffy connecting with this Rio punch with Red Rock, I also thought, is Red Rock also connected to like the Rocks Pirates? Is that what it's referencing? I don't know. But even though it was obviously infused with Rio and it did Kaido down, it took Kaido down and it surprised Big Mom. I don't think that did any significant damage. But if you consider that Luffy previously, when he fought Kaido in Gear 4, and pretty much Kaido for the most part tanked it in his Oni form. He's not, this time around, he's not drunk. He's sober from this point on. He was sober when he fought the Scabbards. So yeah, and here he's like in Gear 3, blitzing Kaido and Big Mom, and he strikes Kaido with Rio. So that should tell you right there. If he unleashes Gear 4 with Rio, it's going to be his new mode. That's going to be some crazy stuff, and I think this chapter confirmed we're going to get Kaido in his hybrid form pretty soon. Also, last bit, do you think it's possible we could get a Wano Act 4, or do you think this is going to be the third and final act of Wano, and when we're going to go to the world building after this arc, after this act is completed? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, chapter 1000 is in the history books. I don't think it disappointed. Judging by the way it's trending, and it's still trending. So it's been a great journey. Can't wait to see where the journey takes us next. So thank you for joining with me on this journey as we go make our way to chapter 1001. And this journey could not have been possible without Oda and his hard work, and it's obviously the editors and the staff that brought One Piece to where we are now. So it's crazy that we would not be here without Oda. So thank you to Oda. Thank you guys for checking out this review. If you like it, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. Helps out the channel greatly. Subscribe to have more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.